All right, let's kick the tires, light the fires. This is Carmen Danisco from the Launch Network, bringing you live from the coffee shop. And I have Mr. Christopher Shara, Danielle Orsino with me today. We are going to be talking a little bit about what's happened and what they've been up to. There's been a lot of stuff going on with these guys with the awesome book, some cool production stuff that they've been doing. Not only have they got this cool book going out, but they got some real production stuff that I saw coming across the lines there with some video and some stuff. So I'd like to take a look at that. I'm going to bring Christopher Shara on right now. We're going to talk a little bit about what he's got to do with this production. Chris, what's going on, my friend?
Carmine, so good to see you again. I know it's been a while. I know I've been really busy with the productions and getting things off the ground. Not much you can do with what hit the world back in February when I was doing business in West Palm. So much has changed.
Oh man, yeah. I was seeing the stuff you guys doing. Just to bring Danielle on real quick. Hi, Danielle. We'll talk to Chris real quick, but let everyone know that Danielle's on with us. Chris, I was watching what you guys were doing, and I was in awe because during what you're doing, there's a goddamn pandemic going on around you. How the hell did you pull this off?
That's a good question, because every opportunity we had for a space to do it got shut down. And the book, Danielle was so adamant about having that book launch on Fairy Day, which was June 29th, that I was pulling the rest of my hair that was left out, trying to figure out, how am I going to do this? Everywhere I turned, every connection, every contact, city, studios, we were shut down.
Wow. Hey, Chris, while you guys are talking, I was going to do this person to person. I'm going to switch to gallery view because I don't want to leave Danielle out of this.
Okay, cool.
This is the awesome view here. So I mean, I was watching. You were updating people of what was going on, and the pandemic. No buildings are open. So all of a sudden, I see this huge building. You're doing all this work.
The funny part is, I had stopped around my town looking at different locations, trying to figure out how am I going to do this. And the one location where we ended up shooting just didn't have the ceiling height for the dragon shot, and that was weeks before. And then lo and behold, I came back at the end where I lost 3 locations right a week before. I had 3 locations. I went back to this location and I noticed that they tore the whole place out. I said, well, now they must have did that under the cuff because the ceiling was higher. And it was an old building in Yorktown. Because of my construction company, I did a restaurant for the old owner and the landlord. So I threw it out to him. I said, look, I got a promotion. I'll promote your vacant space. I want to do a filming. Just pick up the key tomorrow.
That's what's amazing about it. And Danielle, you've probably experienced this. When you get somebody like Chris, who's not only good with people, but been in business for so long and knows so many people, every once in a while when you run into an issue, all of a sudden, boom, you can get it straightened out a lot quicker, right? When you treat people the right way, when you've been doing things as good as Chris has been doing for so long, right?
It's funny because as a new author, as a first-time author, everybody has said to me, as a first-time author, the first book, you just kind of throw it out there. And it's just to start establishing yourself as a legitimate author. Because right now, anybody can self-publish. And anybody can be an author. It's the second book where you start making your money. And I'm like, you don't know Chris. That's my answer. You don't know Chris. I'm fine.
and if anyone who doesn't know Chris doesn't get it, but who does know Chris knows what you're talking about.
That's exactly everybody's going, oh, it's Chris. Oh, you're with Chris. You're with CRS Production. Oh, you're good.
And the funny thing
they're like, you're in the middle of a pandemic. I'm like, They were like, you're releasing a book as a first-time author in the fantasy realm as a woman, no less, in the middle of a pandemic. I'm like, no, I'm with Chris. I'm not worried.
And Danielle, the funny thing is, you don't see me behind the scenes when I'm sitting here at this desk, turning around, looking at my wall, going, "Can I do this again? Can I pull this off? Who do I got to call?" And I'm always prepared. I work off the negative because I build my positive. So I'm always prepared for it can't be done. What I'm not prepared for is ever telling the client or the person I'm managing that I can't do it.
I'm more worried about you dropping me. That's more my concern. More is you dropping me. It's not whether this can be done. I'm just more like, oh God, don't let him drop me because I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm not worried about you making it happen. I'm always looking toward the next book because I know that once the trilogy comes out, and I've already completed 6 books. 6 books are written and done out of editing. We're going with book 5 and 6 are actually going into editing next. But
wow.
I know, I just spoke to my editor who's completed editing the 3rd book, which is the trilogy of the Fae world. He's like, once book 3 hits and people can see the world you've built, he's like, I have no doubt people will genuinely understand it and get what you've done, that this will be on the level that I originally wrote in the foreword, that I have found my new tour guide for the fantasy worlds. He said, I put you on that level of Tolkien and Martin, which, I mean, when I read that, Chris was with me when I got the foreword, I cried. Because I was like, I never thought somebody would write something like that about me. But he said, your world's build, he said, I don't doubt people will truly grasp it. He said, but I do think it needs to be seen by that 3rd trilogy. They'll go, now I get what she was doing. I have all my faith in Chris that we'll get there.
Wow.
But it does, it takes time. Everybody thinks they have a book in them. I've heard that from so many people who've come up to me and been like, I've always wanted to write. I have a story. You got to sit down and do it, but nobody finishes. They all think they do, but you have to sit and actually do it. So getting your first book out, it's like, wow, you did it. You got to keep going. I got all my faith that Chris will keep us going. But COVID crazy world, totally different world than a year ago.
Back to Carmine's point, Danielle, we were remember we were at Mary Calvi from Channel 2 News. We were at her event, and she was so excited for us. And her event was book signing for her book, which is up on my shelf. She connected us with Anderson Bookstore. Do you know they're still shut down? We still can't do book tours. But things have been growing and biting away so nicely with Instagram and posts we put out. So, Danielle could tell you where we are with the bookstore with Barnes and Noble.
Yep, we were sold out online at Barnes and Nobles. We're getting better. We're definitely picking up our online presence. Huge. We keep growing, but it's a slow burn, especially for a first-time author, because you're asking people, especially in this day and age right now with the way job security is, to invest, whether it's a Kindle or the hardback. You're asking them to put their money out into a new author that they have not heard of and spend their hard-earned money and their time to invest into this world.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot right now, but they want to get lost because they need a break from reality, which
well, the good part about this, Danielle, is that one, Chris doesn't read, so it's good.
He's read my book.
Yeah.
Parts of the book.
Chris, I was trying to help you out there.
So it's kind of good in a way. But the other good part is, and Danielle, I think and I want to dig further into not only your background, but the book. But I think that you're right. Because you're going to get people that the money isn't a big deal. They want to get immersed in a new story. They want to leave this pandemic or whatever's happening. They want to read it. So really, it needs to capture them in a sense. So I think that you're exactly right. And it is so hard for a first-time author to get that information, because as me, even myself, I'm an author, and I think my grandmother's the only one that bought my book. I thought it was going to be this big hit.
Everybody does.
Right?
Everybody,
but nobody cares. No one
story.
wants to read my book, but it's okay because I went through the process. I did it. I knew, and it's not easy to write a book. Now you have multiple books, which is unbelievable. I can't even follow a TV show, let alone do multiple versions of a book, multiple editions. So I commend you in that. But I want to switch over to Chris real quick and say, Chris, so you meet up with Danielle. And I know that you're like, my God, this girl has so many different talents, so many of these things going on. When she presents you with the book, I mean, did you automatically go, oh my God, I'm going to represent an author? Or did it take a little while for you to say, my God, we got something here?
Well, one of my biggest problems is I don't know how to say no. So what happened was I was doing a fitness conversion, as you know, when I was doing when I lost all the weight and doing health, I went scouting. I went to all the gyms in White Plains. I went looking for the best trainer, someone that could come on camera and had the ability to talk to me. Danielle didn't tell me her stature right away. We had a couple of meetings and didn't tell me about the, I remember, I think it was the third meeting. She goes, we were in a coffee shop. She goes, by the way, I'm a former, I'm a retired champion in the Hall of Fame. I go, for what? She goes, martial arts. I said, you think you could have thrown that in when the first time I met you, if you told me you're teaching boxing classes? And then that, so that intrigued me because, by the second, third meeting, we're talking health and fitness and me losing the weight and how am I going to at 50, 55 build up? Actually, I was 54 at the time, and I'm 56 now. 2 years have gone by, but what happened was, he was very hesitant and held back on giving me all the information, but I still take every meeting. I meet with everybody. So if someone calls a meeting, they obviously want to talk about something and build something. So that's really how it evolved. She started to trust in me because I would take the meetings and we would discuss different things. She saw my transformation, that I was dedicated and passionate about it. But when she mentioned the book, I had already been doing a men's cologne, a men's fragrance, and trying to get that licensing done. So I was focused on that. But then it came full circle where that licensing wasn't working, wasn't moving fast enough, and I had no patience. Especially losing a lot of weight, you earn the highest energy, so everything's going 100 miles an hour and better.
Yeah.
She told me about the book. I was like, I'll take it on. Just tell me what you need me to do. My first thing was I brought her to the city to my music and film partner, and for business that we do down there, he does the film part. He's a director. But something triggered me that day. I said, I think Danny likes to be one-on-one. She likes to trust in one, not a variety of producers. Now, my biggest thing is grab the best, pull the best together, pull the team. That's why I scout very well. I could see on the ride home, I actually brought Paula to that meeting to oversee, because Paula's a good balance with running my construction company, and a balance that tells me, you need to dial back and focus here, focus there. So to Danielle's credit, we knew going home and said, this doesn't feel right. And then I saw her passion keep talking to me about the book, keep going on and back. And I said, we're going to make this happen. One way or another, we'll make it happen.
Wow. So, Chris, and I know that you've managed a lot of people, not only in your business side, you have workers and a team and all those things, but then on the Sierra's production side. And I guess the easiest way for me to ask you is the product, the book or the product, whatever you are backing or marketing, as important as the person and their dedication?
It's the only way to do it. You know when to back off when there's not the passion there and the person doesn't stay after you. I don't chase people. They got to keep asking me, keep after me and tell me that when I start to see their passion, I said, they're asking me questions and they want to know answers, and they're feeling out ideas. Danielle's an idea person, and it's all in the book. So when I get a book or I get people that do that, I hand the book right over to Paula. She reads it cover to cover and then says, all I had to hear for me to take on Danielle was, do you know what you're getting yourself into? This book is really good. So there's my grounded person. I said, all right, I need this book in my possession so I can start feeling it out. I'm the type, and I'll be straight up with your viewers, I don't want to know everything about the book. I want people to read it, come back to me and do just what Paula did, because then it'll inspire me to actually, because I do take it everywhere I go, where I take pictures of it, I do promos of it, and I'll read like the passage of the first page of the next, so my mind starts getting into it. Saying, wow, so this is what, like Danielle will tell you, one person said they'll never look at crystals again because of chapter 24, the way Danielle designed it.
Wow, that's awesome. That's great. I want to switch over to Danielle in a second, but I do want to ask real quick. I know that you guys run the See You at 6 network. You did a show with Danielle that I caught some versions on, which I thought was awesome. Tell me how that came around. And I mean, how did you guys put that together? Because it looked like a real TV studio.
That was fun. That with the ring and everything. I'm gonna tell you straight out before you go to her, because I'm so into the passion end of competition. Who's the best? Not that you have to be the best, but show your best. That when I had met one of the producers at ESPN at a show our old buddy Mark Chomich took me to, I hit it off with that guy pre-pandemic, and he was very interested in the fact that she was martial arts and, you know, she is a champion. And I said, there's only one way I'm going to pull this off, on camera, and I'm going to challenge her. I want her in the ring.
Bad move.
So then when we set up the studio and she was on camera talking about her Giants football team, I said, wow, this woman blows me away with all that. So I said, she's going to blow more viewers and more fans, Giants fan, NFL fans away. So that's where the episodes came from in the filming of Gloves Off Tough Talk podcast, which we're actually putting on the CRS Productions YouTube. We're going to put them all out there for people to actually see how tough she is, what she can bring.
It was so much fun watching you guys. And I don't know if it was scripted or not, but it didn't seem scripted, but the banter was awesome. I was laughing. It was a great show.
My only thing before you go to her is I put on 15 pounds for that show, for that shot in the ring, and I don't do good anymore with that 15 pounds, and I took it off. Now I want to get back in the ring.
Danielle, I have to go to you now. It doesn't matter how many pounds, right?
Doesn't matter.
15. Take it off on. I saw you in it, Dan. You were kind of holding back with him.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, it's so funny. How did he convince you to do this show, Danielle?
Gloves Off he made mention of it. He said, you know, we should really get on camera, like talking. And I was down because I love my New York Giants. The reason in my book the fairies bleed blue is because the New York Giants. There's some scientific reasons too.
That's how he lured you on the show.
Yeah, of course. It's my New York Giants. I'll do anything for them. I'll do anything. I actually wrote them into book 5. I even wrote the Giants into book 5.
Oh my God! Now I have to.
I got the Giants into that.
Now I'm intrigued about it.
I'll do anything for my New York Giants. I made it through the Dave Brown era. If you can make it through that and still be a Giants fan, you're a true Giants fan.
Wow, that's awesome. That is so great.
I'll do anything. I mean, I love the NFL, regardless of what's going on. I always, you know, I'm dyslexic, so as an author, that makes some problems. So, you know, you got to pay a lot of proofreaders. Good.
I can't talk in reverse, so I'm.
Neither can I. I could read in reverse, but you know. So I had a lot of problems. One of my 6th grade teacher, Mr. Woolman, was the one who figured it out because my math teacher had just given up on me. He just like marked me off as a dumb child and was like, throw her off to the corner.
Wow. He
really believed, no, you know, there's just, because she's great in science, but the math was a problem. So he was the one who basically, in order to teach me math, taught me football. Giants were going, you know, were killing it. It was when LT, you know, Phil Simms, the whole line. So he would teach me percentages. He would, you know, give me an assignment like, you're going to figure out the quarterback completion rate. So he would say, count up how many times the quarterback throws the ball, how many times it's caught, how many times it's dropped, bring me those figures. And he started teaching me fractions, percentages, all of this for football. And that's how I learned math.
Wow.
Was to learn it that way. And he taught me through watching the New York Giants.
Huh. That is awesome.
Carmine, if you will, if I could intercede a second here. Everything you and I know about football and Giants, throw it away. He knows more.
No, there's no doubt. I love that you had the show going. It's great to have a theme kind of thing when you're doing a show like that because people will connect. Even if you don't like the Giants, because of the passion and the knowledge that you had, you have to listen. right?
Well,
I mean,
one of the episodes we brought on my friend Mike Longo, who's a diehard Cowboys fan. He actually works at Radio City and MSG. We had him on the show with another guy, our local Rob Del Bazzo, who's Chef Del Bazzo, who's Chef Rob, who's he's known as Caterer to the Stars. And watching the three of them go at it, that episode's going to go on the YouTube.
Fun.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. But
and
yeah,
you got some free food out of it.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
I mean, you
They
can't
did.
beat this stuff.
It was excellent. And one
No.
more I will put on is my cousin from Yonkers, diehard ESPN Giants fan. We did a call in. That's going to be a great episode to listen to, because listening to them two talk about Giants of the past and how they built, I'm going, I don't even belong in this interview.
He was fun. He was a lot of fun, but it's just, right now there's so much politics involved, and I don't want to get into it in sports, but at the end of the day, especially for me with football, I took a lot more out of it because it gave me confidence. I learned stats. I learned a lot from football in a way that maybe you don't look at sports like that. Like for me as a dyslexic kid that was being told, hey, you're dumb, you're not going to go very far. I had a teacher who took the time to take something that he loved, the New York Giants, and turn it into a teaching tool that gave me confidence in science and made me realize I'm not dumb. I just need to be taught a little different. And that made me love football, made me love the New York Giants, made me love sports. And I don't think without that confidence, I would have gone very far in school, and made me love learning, because even in nursing school, when it came down to doing drug calculations and dosage calculations, I went right back to the New York Giants, went right back to, quarterback completion percentages, and reignited my brain that way, because you need to get a 98% on all your drug calculation tests in order to give out medicine, or else you can't do that part of your clinicals. So I went right back to Eli. Eli, it was not your best season that year, but okay. And went right back to it. And thank God I still had that learning tool in my back pocket.
Wow. That's awesome.
So for me, football kind of meant a lot. So doing gloves off, it was, of course I was going to do it, and we were able to get into the science end of it, talking about concussions and things like that. So to me, football holds a special place in my heart. And I don't think without those things, I don't know if I would have taken the leap into leaving nursing, the ring, and all that to restart the second half of my career life, or third half if you consider everything I've left, to do Birth of the Fae. I really don't know if I would have that confidence to jump in and say, I'm going to just drop all that behind and start this new journey, especially in writing, being dyslexic and all that. A lot of it, that confidence came from reminding myself being dyslexic doesn't mean dumb. That was hammered in my head at a pretty sensitive and vulnerable spot, in those developmental years.
Wow.
So I think
That's
it's a big deal.
because, and I want to get into, because you're also a trained nurse, right?
I'm an LPN. Yep. I was actually accepted into a physician assistant school, and I walked away from that as well to do the book. I was going into NYIT. I was accepted, and walking into a PA school, which at the time they say was harder to get into physician assistant school than med school. I got in, I actually showed Chris my letter and called my father and said, here's the letter. This technically counts as med school. And he's like, and he looked at it and he goes, yes, it does. I was recruited by Yale to go into their first class of virtual physician assistant training for New York State. It was their pilot program. And they asked if I would be a part of it. And I was headed to med school.
Wow.
I was on my way. And then I saw the bill and was like,
Carmine.
don't know if it's worth $180,000, because the laws had just changed and you couldn't do the tax write-off of your student loans. And thought about it long and hard and was like, well, but it's a guaranteed job. All those things went through my head. But I was still headed in there because I was going to do Lyme's disease research and save the world. And, Wonder Woman tiara was on, bracelets were on. And I said, no, I'm going to go write a fantasy book about dragons and fairies. So you can
Of course.
imagine how well.
Doesn't everyone do that?
Hey,
I
Karma,
know, like, even
you
when I
know,
say it out loud.
I just have to say this. I have to cut Danielle off. Because I have to say this. Welcome to my world. How could I say no to her? I mean, she sold me on everything that I said. Let's put our money where our mouth is. Get in the ring.
Wow.
Let's do this in the ring.
Yeah.
That is so crazy. Hey, Danielle, real quick, man, I want to talk a little bit about the process of the book. But Chris probably doesn't know this. But, you know, we used to go out down in the city a lot, and sometimes we would drink a little bit, sometimes more than we're supposed to. But there was a time that we hung out with Lawrence Taylor and several of the Giants in one of the clubs in the city, and he probably doesn't even remember because he was so out of it.
Probably doesn't. And I'm he actually used to come to my high school assistant principal was Mr. Perry, who played on the defensive line for the Giants. So LT used to come to my school and play charity basketball to watch him play. So you see, it all comes back to the Giants.
It's great. It's great. And they were great guys. We hung out with them for several hours in a club. I think it was either the tunnel or the Russian tea room, but it was a long time ago.
Yes, the Russian tea room. That was their that was their big hangout. I've met Jason Sehorn, met Tiki Barber. We don't talk about Tiki.
So, all right, let's talk a little bit about the book. So yes. What did it take for you to actually, a lot of people out there want to write a book. What did it take for you to actually say, you know, you were scribbling stuff down, however you're writing it, but you said, I have a book here. Like, what was the time frame? Like, what did it actually take to do that? Because I know for me, it took me a while.
I finished the first 3 books. I finished in 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah, I was, in that sense, I was blessed. I'm not going to say, so they were not finals. It was nothing like that. But because I told the story out loud to my patient, when I told the story, I never thought I was going to write it. It just flowed. You know, the patient inspired it. This whole thing was a whim at first. You know, he sat down for treatment. It was 2-hour drips. He finally said to me one day, I can't do this anymore. Tell me a story, distract me, do something.
Wow.
I said to him, give me something interesting. And he was like, well, I was recruited by the CIA out of college.
Of course.
From there, it was like, oh, really? He told me how he was recruited. We made a couple jokes about, I could have gotten into Area 51 because I'm a big crypto fan. In Search of Leonard Nimoy. That was my jam when I was a kid. You know, I still swear if I go to Loch Ness, Nessie's going to pop up and be like, hey, Danny, ride on my back. I'm positive of it. We made some jokes, and then I just said, well, you know where Lyme comes from? And he went, I know, Plum Island. We went through all the conspiracy theories, and out of my mouth came, no, the Fae. Don't know where it came from.
Wow.
And he went, huh? And I said, you know the Fae. I said, you're a big CIA agent. I kind of made him into the story and did this role-playing thing. And he went, oh, yeah, I'm the agent. And he's like, and I've been sent here to find out if the nurse is really the one behind, you know, the brains behind this operation at this Lyme clinic. And I went, yes. And she's part Fae. And then the story started coming. And I said, he goes, well, tell me more about the background on the Fae. And all of a sudden, Jarvok, Queen Aurora, it all started flowing.
That is awesome.
And he finished his treatment, and when he was done, he said, you really should write that story down. He said, it's great. And I had like the whole drip room listening. And then I went into anaphylactic shock, and I almost died from the drugs that I was actually working with and helping people. I sat down and wrote I just sat down one day and said, I'm going to write the story. But I jumped between all 3 books. I didn't sat and say, I'm going to write book 1. I just picked a chapter, started writing, and then I go, oh, well, they're probably going to wonder how these 2 met. So let me go back, and I just write another chapter on another page.
Wow. Does that happen with somebody like yourself? Because even like Star Wars when I was a kid, I didn't know there was multiple stories within Star Wars. I thought there was just one Star Wars, but then they started coming. So does that happen kind of with an author like yourself? You might write book 1 and then 4 and then feed them together, or is that how your kind of mind works?
I didn't have, I kind of joke about it. I talk about this with my editor and I were just joking about this. The way I did it was if I wrote, let's say I wrote 4 chapters that day, when I went to bed, I would replay them in my head like a movie. And if I was bored, then I would think, okay, my audience is going to get bored. And so I'd rewind that part in my head and play it again until I was interested. And then I'd know, okay, I got to go back and change that. And I would do that every night.
Makes sense.
I always wrote the chapters like, I don't know if you remember the show Heroes. It used to be on NBC, you know, save the cheerleader, save the world. The first 2 seasons were phenomenal. Every time an episode ended, you were going, what the F is happening on this show? Loved it. After that, I don't know what the hell happened, but it got horrible. All I kept thinking was, I loved the first 2 seasons. So every time I ended a chapter, I thought, end it like that show. So when they would close that chapter, they'd go, what the hell's happening in this book? I got to read the next one. I don't know if that's how you're supposed to write, but that's how I did it. So that's kind of how I did things. And then the more I wrote, characters started popping in. By the time I got to book 3, this little character walked across my brain one night like Eloise from the Plaza singing Cherry Bomb and knocked on my brain and went, get up and go write my story. My name is Indiga. You're not killing me off anytime soon, and I'm here for the duration.
Wow.
And
awesome.
She was. And so the more I wrote, the more my subconscious took over. And the characters started flowing. So what went from an oral story I told, the more I got comfortable and accepted myself as an author and stopped saying, well, I'm a personal trainer. I used to be a nurse and I'm kind of doing this. Once I cut it all off and left it and said, that's it. Because that was something Chris told me. When I was at my other job, he was like, look, either you're a trainer or you're an author. It's time to choose. Once I took his advice and did that, everything started flowing now. And I was like, you're right, I'm an author.
Wow.
Yeah, it's scary to take this leap, but this is what I am. The process evened out.
Wow.
And then everything started flowing more. And that's what I did. And I was like, okay. And then I was able to really go. So what became now it's book 4, like what was book 3 is book 4 because I cut things in half because they were just too damn long.
Yeah. Wow.
Things really kind of opened up.
Cool.
But most of the characters in the book are inspired by people I know, I've met. You know, sometimes I didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
But then organically new characters popped up. You know, it happens. But I do tend to get inspired by music. Every character has their own theme.
Wow.
They do.
It sounds like the book has life lessons in it, though, too, to what you're explaining.
It is. There are a lot of allegories. There are life lessons. There's probably life lessons I should have learned.
Everyone.
You know, that's a big part of it. It's something that I wish people would have told me when I was younger, or maybe they did tell me, I just didn't friggin' listen. A lot of that. And sometimes there are traits in there that I see in myself that I wish I had more of.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Maybe wish I had less of. A little bit of that. Like Chris has said, my dogs are a lot of the characters. They, you know, Carlos, my little Yorkie, is a dragon. Lady Penelope is a white deer. So my dogs are always with me. You know, take it for what it is. But the inspirations, you know, I in the dedication, somebody made mention that I dedicated it to the Muppets. And they were like, why the Muppets? And I said, for the simple reason I say, they taught me you never outgrow imagination. I remember watching Labyrinth and thinking it's like the coolest thing I'd ever seen in the Dark Crystal.
Wow.
And Kermit to me is the greatest leader. Because he never BS'd the Muppets. He always told them when times are bad, but when they're good, they're good.
Yeah.
He was there when times were good, but he's right with them when times are bad. Who doesn't want a leader like that?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Miss Piggy, as a woman, who doesn't want to be Miss Piggy? She's got the greatest wardrobe ever. and she's kick ass. I kind of want to be Miss Piggy. So the Muppets are a crew that always stick together, and to me, that's kind of what the Fae are about.
Yeah.
Well, that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's really the Fae are family.
Yeah.
You get to pick, the Fae pick their family because it's not all about blood. And in today's society, who doesn't want to get lost in that story?
Mm. Hey, Danielle, do you think that if someone picked up book 3 without reading the first 2, do you think that that would be okay? And then they can go back and forth?
Yeah, if you picked up book 3, you could still read book 3 and you'll get what happened.
Oh, cool.
But you're going to want to go back and read 1 and 2.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome.
You'll want to get back. Because the way I do it is, in book 1, it sets the tone. And you understand the Fae are still building and learning about themselves, their infancy. And even in my writing, it's reflected. My writing is very simplistic in book 1 because I want it to reflect the mood of the Fae. In book 2, the writing is a little more, I'm going to say glam, because the Fae think, I've got it. Like, I know what's going on this earth. We got worshipers, life is good. They meet Queen Mary. It's tutor time. That's how it is. By book 3, the writing is darker because stuff's going down in book 3. So each book, the mood and the writing is all reflected. Because I've had people say, the writing's very simple in book 1. Well, yeah, they've been abandoned. Life kind of sucks. And they're in their infancy stage of development. Writing should be simple.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of took it.
That's cool.
When you jump to book 4, you're now in the 21st century.
Wow.
Now you're here on Earth. You're in this dimension, I'll call it, because it's a little easier. So yeah, now it's more modern day vernacular.
Wow, that's crazy. Hey, Chris.
So I tried to go with them on it.
Wow. So Chris, have you read through these manuscripts? All of them, huh?
I always, even as she's speaking, I go to different things just to get my brain on what she's talking about. But it's so fascinating to me. You know, I like to see it in the movies, and that's my job.
Yeah. You know what's funny, Chris, is that I back products. You know, actual products. But to take on a book project like this, one book would be scary for me. But multiple books, I mean. Were you probably just like, what the heck am I doing?
Well, there's also so many facets to it. She designed a lot of the armor. So King Jarvok has armor that I'm looking at. You know, I got to get in touch with Carmine. We got to market. We got to trademark this stuff.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Put the armor out. She's got her coffee cups. One of them is black, and you put the coffee in, and the dragon comes out of the coffee cup. I mean, so she's done a lot of the work of the merchandising alone. One thing I also want to throw in that sold me on Danielle is she invited me to Comic-Con. She goes every year. All she said to me is, when you pick me up to take me, just be prepared. I said, don't tell me. Don't tell me. I like the book. I like to find out. Well, she was Catwoman, and she was, I think, Danielle, you got like the top Catwoman of Comic-Con or something.
I was voted best Catwoman of Friday's Comic-Con, yeah.
And I come to find out she went the day before as
Poison Ivy.
Wow, that is so funny.
I go every year.
So awesome. We got a few minutes left, but what sounds like is the beginning of really an exciting adventure. I mean, it's scary, which is you want. It's not easy to get these books out there, but it sounds like once it gets rolling, I mean, it sounds like a fun thing.
Yeah, this is why we shot the trailer. All those tidbits you saw of us filming with our production crew, that trailer is on CRS Productions YouTube, and we're getting a lot of views. People are liking what we did because it's setting the tone for moving into book 2.
Yeah, and plus you did it. I mean, what a story to tell during a pandemic. Had people come and watch live, and then you were also had the news there, which was probably hard to do because of the pandemic. I mean, what's great about what I love about you guys doing, you're not blaming or delaying because of the problems that are happening around you. I mean, you're still moving forward. You're still doing what needs to be done. In this case, yeah. I mean, is there a specific timeline for each book? Or are you kind of just saying, okay, we got the first version out there, we'll know when to release the next version or something like that? Or do you have a set timeline?
Oh, no, we're looking for the fall, right, Danielle, to put book 2 out.
We have book 2 just came out of editing, developmental edit, and then it's going into proofing and copy editing. But we've talked about fall, possibly early spring, based on how book 1 does.
We're moving.
But we're moving I just spoke to Jacob, the trailer musical director, and we're trying to get everything set for the second trailer, because I knows what we did in the first trailer. We got to up it. But, we're talking about it now. Book 2 is bigger. It's longer than book 1. It's more complicated because the Fae have now established themselves, and they're in the midst of a huge civil war between the two, between the dark and the light. And they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. So there's a lot more involved. Book 3 actually just came out of developmental edit 2 days ago. So there's so much involved. Yeah. And obviously the trailer is a lot. And Chris made the chessboard.
I saw that.
Chessboard you see? Chris
awesome.
did.
Awesome.
So, and now I have more armor to make from the first one. So all those little, the skulls you see, I casted those out of an ice cube tray, acrylic. So do you know how many more skulls I got to make? It's a lot, Carmine. It's a lot. So give me a sec.
The long and the short of it is we're a good team because we're both passionate about what we do. We have the right people behind us, the right people we're working with. Thank God for Paula running the construction company and her input that she puts in. So moving forward, the fact that Danielle's the actual character, she is Queen Aurora, helps a lot because she wrote the book in her mind and she plays the character. Jarvok, who she picked, phenomenal. So there's a lot of facets here we're putting together we hope to catapult it into a series for maybe HBO, Netflix. That's the long
Amazon, somebody.
Wow.
That's
awesome.
I mean, at the end of the day, Corinne, this is the best way I can put it is I've been in the ring. I put the sword down for the pen, and there's too much of a fight in me. You can take the fighter out of the ring, but you can't take the ring out of the fighter. I don't want to say I'm looking to leave a legacy, but that's exactly what I'm looking to do.
Yeah.
I'm not going down without a fight. Chris has invested too much into it. This is my life's blood. If you look at everything, everybody knows J.R.R. Tolkien. We all know Lord of the Rings. He had movies. We all know George R.R. Martin. He's had Game of Thrones. But can you think of a fantasy female author who has had that type of success?
Mm.
Everybody goes, well, Stephanie Myers. No. That was a young adult series. Then they go, well, J.K. Rowling. Once again, children's book. Give me a female fantasy.
Awesome.
I'm looking. I don't see anyone. That's going to be me.
Wow.
We got to change the face of fantasy and realize women have something to say, and you don't have to always put romance into it. We can write battle scenes. We can have strong female and male characters. And we can do this. I can do this.
Well, it sounds like it.
That's what I intend to do with Chris. I got Chris.
Well, I mean, the great part about it is you're kind of both fighters. I mean, Chris would never, ever, ever have gotten where he is today without fighting. I mean, a lot of people would have given up. Good, bad, ugly. He knows that, he does a lot of good stuff. Same with you, Danielle. The things that you have experienced in your life, it just made everyone stronger. It made you stronger. It made Chris stronger. And that's what's great about, I think, what you guys are doing. If something's happening to you, then Chris is fighting to help you. If something's happening to Chris, you're fighting to help Chris. So you're both kind of watching each other's back in that sense. Plus, the great part is Chris has a lot of people behind him, too, that will help, that are not going to let you guys fail, which I think is awesome. I mean, just what you guys put together with the chessboard and the video and having that crew there, I was in awe just watching it. So I think it's just so cool what you guys are doing. And really, I don't think there's a choice for it not to work. I think no matter what, this is going to be a success. It's just getting it done.
No, it's just getting it out there. Like I said, book 1 establishes me as an author. book 2, then people can go, oh, you're a real author. Now I'll invest the time, go back and read 1. Now I'm in on 2. And by book 3, I'm here. And now it's just a matter of Amazon Prime. Give us a ring.
Yeah,
And you'll have a hit series. Birth of the Fae will be there.
Let me throw this in there. To my own credit, I do a lot of research when I hear. I don't have to know about the story. I have to know what it can do. So when I found out it was kind of in the realm of it's definitely not Game of Thrones. So I watched Game of Thrones and I saw. Then I was told a little more Harry Potter. So I studied J.K. Rowling's and her editor, Blair Publishing. I did some studying. You know, you got to take the people that were successful. When I found out that J.K. Rowling's was on welfare, and she wrote this kid's story, sold it for $3,000 to the UK. 500 of the 1,100 copies they gave to the library. Book 2 catapulted her to over 480 million copies sold. Right. I said, so lightning does strike. But look at what she did. I don't care about her story, her book, how much J.K. Rowling saw. I care that she took the initiative to make it happen. And it's commemorable because her 7th book, when it sold over 11 million copies in 24 hours, no one's ever done that. So I said, you know what? Thank you, J.K. Rowling, for inspiring me to just keep going. And that's it.
Yeah, it's not easy to be the first, but when someone does it, you know it's possible. Just like the 4-minute mile, everybody thought it was impossible.
Right.
But then
until it's done.
Broke 4-minute mile, and then 6 months later, that was broken again. So yes, 1,000,000%. I think you guys are right on the money. Somebody shows you that nothing's impossible, and then you just get it done. I think it's awesome. It's so great.
I like being the dark horse. I like being underestimated.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's probably happened to you several times, Danielle, which I would hate. I would hate to be the person who underestimated you. So
happened many times in the ring.
That's
many
right.
times competing.
That's right.
And they've all regretted it.
I love it. Love it. Hey, Chris, you got kind of a Miami Vice look coming on. You got a tan there. What's the deal?
Hey, you know what? I was doing a lot of vacationing with the book and the beach and the dog and the bicycle. And I was like every day I was out in the sun. Then I come home, I'm by the pool with the book. You know, the wheels are always turning.
Danielle, he doesn't go on vacation. He might have went somewhere different.
No, he didn't go on vacation. He just changed the scenery.
Yeah. And when people say, oh, Chris is on vacation, I'm like, no, he's not.
There's only 7 days in a week. How could you take a vacation?
That's all it means.
I love it. Hey guys, listen, we're gonna wrap it up. Awesome. I want just real quick for our listeners, where is this book available right now?
Go ahead, Danielle.
Amazon.com, BarnesandNobles.com, Books A Million, Target.com.
Wow. Awesome.
And if you want to support local businesses because your bookshop is still closed right now, bookshop.org. You can go there. The book's available there, and what it'll do, it'll give a proceed of certain percentage of the book sale to your local bookshop.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it depends on where you wanna look at it, and I think we're even on Walmart.com now.
Yeah.
So we're available at a bunch of different places.
Yeah, we got picked up by Target and Walmart.
We are working on an Audible. We're looking into doing an audio book as well. We're just we're waiting that out. Possibly when book 2 comes out, maybe we'll put them both together to make it a little bit of a longer read.
Audible is awesome. That's great. And the great part about it is anyone out there listening, please, if and when you get this book, because I know you're going to get it, leave a review somewhere for the book, please. That's one thing that I ask. If you can do something a little bit extra for the author, for Chris, for the book, leave a review. Let people know.
Yes, they're very important. People don't realize how important that is.
Very, very important.
Yeah.
Carmine, can I just say one more thing before you wrap?
Yeah, go.
What really intrigued me is that those 1,100 books that J.K. Rowling sold, one book is worth $50,000 now of those original books. So I'm like, wow, this book won. I'm holding on to it.
No wonder he's taking it wherever he goes.
That first edition print, you'd be surprised how those are really worth a lot of money now.
Yeah. I love the cover of the book too. It looks really great.
Covers. My cover designer is Christine from the Book Cover Whisperer, and she's done Dan Brown's. book covers before. She's done a lot. I gave her some parameters, and God bless her, she
That's
just
great. Looks
took
awesome.
it, ran, and there's a lot of hidden meanings in it. She got all those little details. She really did a beautiful job. My map designer, Daniel Hasenbas, has done some phenomenal maps for Dungeons and Dragons, Lord of the Rings. He's done a bunch of different people.
So great.
Gorgeous work. So
wow.
I'm really happy with the whole team. They did beautiful work, and the trailer's gorgeous as well. So, you know.
Well, we're going to be definitely look at some of the videos, Chris, you had mentioned they're on YouTube.
Yes.
Yep.
Where should they go to watch these?
CRS Productions.
On YouTube. All right, cool.
See them on YouTube. We're going to start uploading more.
Awesome. That's so great. People like to see that stuff. It really catches their interest to read the book also. So I think that's great to do. Some smart stuff you guys got going on. So, all right, we're going to wrap up. Danielle Orsino, thank you so much, author. Great job. I just want to give you my condolences working with Chris. I know it's a little bit tough, but it's awesome. Awesome stuff. Mr. Christopher Schauer from CRS Productions, thank you so much for being on today. I know you guys are going to be doing some more talk shows, doing some more podcasts. We'll all be looking forward to seeing those things. Chris, where are you going to be putting the podcast on the CO6 network? So on CRS Productions, .net, .org?
.net, CRSproductions.net will be on.
Excellent.
And you can follow us on Instagram, Birth of the Fae. Underscore novel.
Oh, yeah, Instagram. Being old and bald, I don't know anything about Instagram. I want everybody out there to know that. But Instagram is important to use now. I should start using it.
Yeah.
Cool. It's great.
All right. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up. Thanks for being on today, and we will catch you next time on the Coffee House podcast. See you at 6 Network. Check it out. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you.